What's up, everybody? I am just waiting a couple minutes. There's quite a few people signed up, so just want to take some time to make sure we had any stragglers coming in.
Gabe, you're going to see another alert come in. It's just on my two devices. I have to be mobile a bit here in the short term, so I'm going to do a laptop and a phone.
Yeah, no worries. All right, I don't want to delay too much. We can get started. Basically, I just wanted to host you guys a meeting. I've had a lot of people reach out to me that were with Air AI, and they used to do weekly calls and have support for AI voice. They didn't do chatbots, but I do both. And so this is kind of a test just to see if I could help some people out. Like I said in the email, there's absolutely no pitch here. So, and I don't even have really an agenda. I want to just leave this open for you guys to ask questions. Some of you are clients, some of you are not clients. I'm happy to dive into your accounts if you're a client, if you're having problems, even though I've worked with you before. This can be support. If you're brand new, don't worry. You can ask me, even if you want to know who I am or what I do. There's absolutely no stupid questions. So I'll just leave the floor open for you guys to be able to ask questions. I'm going to keep this about, the only thing I will say is I want to keep it about AI voice, specifically Synthflow, but if you have questions about others, that's fine. I can try to answer. Closebot for the texting chatbot that I use with Go High Level, and then just Go High Level automations in general. If I can help you guys improve any automation or your voice or prompting or Closebot, I'd like to kind of focus on that, but feel free to ask me anything, and if I can answer, I will.
Hey Gabe, it's Bianco.
Hey, Bianco, what's up?
So basically, yeah, Air AI destroyed you, your whole situation, huh?
Yeah, well, they didn't destroy me, and that's kind
No,
of the
but
funny
yeah, you were
thing.
using them mainly, right? Or did you start to switch over to Synthflow?
I was using mainly Air about a year and a half ago when they launched in August of 23 and September. And then about March of 24 is when I started testing Synthflow. And then I fully switched over late April and have only been using Synthflow since. So Air AI just made lots of promises and their tech just kept getting worse and worse. There was tons of delays on their voice AI. They kept promising every week it was going to get better, but it would just keep getting worse. So once I started testing Synthflow and found a better option for the voice AI, it was really just a no-brainer because they were very, very stable, and I've been happy with them. One thing that I've found in general is it is new technology. It is over the internet also. So anytime you have calling over the internet, there's going to be glitches and problems. So sometimes it's hard to identify, is it the AI or is it an internet or a connection issue? So it definitely makes it challenging helping people and trying to solve problems, but I love the challenges. I love solving problems. And so it's been a fun journey and I don't regret one bit, starting with Air because they've got me on this path.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they came from a marketer standpoint, so it's much better. Most of these, I've been through every AI platform out there, and they're all, coder developed, so they don't understand anything about business or marketing at all, and it's like super hard to get things done the way you want them.
Yep,
And yeah,
that's
you've
true.
heard of Play AI, right? Ever heard of Play AI?
For the Facebook ads and stuff.
No, no. Play AI is like another voice AI that is
Oh,
super easy to use, and it
yeah.
it connects to your Google Calendar and it works. But they have like a big, huge problem that I discovered halfway in was that they cannot reschedule or cancel appointments on your calendar. It's like, what? Like they can put appointments on your calendar, send follow-up text messages and all that, but they can't change an appointment and they can't cancel and reschedule. So it's like it's worthless when you're trying to use it in real business. And then there's a bunch of other ones I've been playing with, but yeah, at the end of the day, none of them are, Synthflow was something that was on my radar early on, but it wasn't, I don't think it was ready for prime time, but now it is. And now even 11 Labs has a voice AI that you can put on your website super easy, but they don't really give a lot of information about how to actually implement it. And it has their branding all over it. And so it's kind of like, what do you got? I don't know. Everyone seems to be adding voice AI now. Like even that chat, I think it's a chat simple AI bot. You know that one?
I haven't heard of that one.
So that one is really good for just chat widgets and programming it to do all kind of cool features and having it follow scripts and things. And now they
Oh,
just said
nice.
that voice AI now added somehow, which I don't understand. If I think what they're going to do is what 11 Labs is doing is they're basically letting you add a widget to your web page that lets you click it and have a conversation with the voice AI. No phone numbers to call, but just on your website, which I don't really think that's going to be the greatest thing because most people on their phone want to chat by typing. If they're around other people, they don't want to have everyone hearing their conversation.
Yeah,
So yeah, but
true.
what about high level AI? Like, do you think that that's prime time right now, ready to go, or you think it's not quite ready?
Yeah, I did a comparison video on it. I tested it 2 or 3 weeks ago. I thought it was actually really good for what it can do. Right now, the Go High Level uh, native voice can only do inbound. It's limited to a 5 minute call, which I actually have a lot of clients that when they do use it for inbound calls, a lot of those calls go longer than 5 minutes because customers are actually calling to talk to you. And then their prompting window where you actually add the prompt has a limitation of 2,000 characters. A lot of my prompts are actually longer than that. So I didn't like that limitation, but I really thought the voice quality, I was super impressed by that. So I would say it's not 100% prime time, but once they get it dialed in, it definitely could be. It could be a contender. And like I tell everybody, I'm not married to any one voice. I always just like to see what's the best out there. I prefer to use Go High Level, so something that hooks up well to that, and then whatever can serve my clients well is the main thing.
So yeah, with Synthflow, what I noticed when I first started playing with it, like probably 6 months ago, was it was a little bit overly complicated to connect it. But I think they fixed that, right? Now it's a lot easier to connect it to high level and have it interact back and forth.
Yeah, so it's super easy to connect it to trigger a call. The complicated part on all these platforms is extracting data and syncing that up so it matches to your contact. That can get a little complex if you're not used to working with like webhooks and how it looks and mapping the fields. Also, there's a weird issue sometimes with Synthflow where let's say I have some info extractors set up. And when I say info extractors, if you don't know what that is, inside of Synthflow, we can set these info extractors up that prompt it to extract data for us, such as, the calls completed, what's their first name, what's their email, what's their last name. So if I wanted to go in and change something, maybe it's not getting the info extractor correctly, and I change that prompt, what happens is, for some reason right now, it's breaking the webhook and I have to remap that. So sometimes, like I have one client that's extracting lots of information. And if he asks me to do one change, then I have to go back and remap all the info extractors. Um, it's not necessarily you have to do that every time, but that can be the thing that trips people up the most, is
I
that
think that's a
post-call
high
data
level
webhook.
thing because you know how when you're on high level, sometimes you're doing things and then it doesn't show up, and then you have to keep refreshing the entire page on Chrome or something to get the data to like reload. Is that you think that's a high level issue of why it's not reconnecting properly, or is that like a just a webhook issue, you think? Or maybe Synthflow.
With Synthflow specifically, I know that mapping the data to high level is a webhook issue. They on their end, when you set up an info extractor, they need to be able to make the I don't know what you call it, the JSON code name that comes through. They need to make it like consistent and stable, but every time you make changes to it, it like makes a different code name so that when it comes through
Mhm.
it breaks the mapping and it just has to be remapped to the new change that you made. So it doesn't happen every time, but that's where I can tell people, yeah, it's easy to set up, but then they dive in and they can start having a lot of issues if they don't know how to troubleshoot that little detail.
Yeah, that's a big issue that I've noticed about all the AI is if you don't know how to troubleshoot it, you're gonna basically hang yourself. And if you had, if you signed up 20 clients or 50 clients and you had 50 accounts going and then you make some changes and everything breaks, yeah, it's a big
100%.
issue. And that's what I see
Yep.
still. I thought AI was 100% prime time, but I don't think it really is. I mean, you can make money with it now and sell it and it'll work most of the time. But main thing to overcome for most clients is you got to make sure you let them know it's like this is just like a human. It ain't perfect. Like don't
100%.
expect people, because I think the majority of people I speak to about AI, they think, oh, AI is like this super intelligent, it knows everything. But you need to realize, like, somebody trained it. They gave it certain information and said, this is the truth. So it can only spit out that. It doesn't have the ability to go, oh, let me validate this truth. Is this true? It just spits it out. That's why you can go to some of these AIs and get like these crazy answers that are totally BS. But the AI is like confident it's the fact. And like there's one guy I follow,
Yeah.
he's like an AI guy, and he's chatting with an AI, and then he tells it, don't go out and make up things and don't give me analogies and don't do this, don't do that. And then it comes back, it does it anyway. And he's like, I just told you, you idiot. And he talks to it like that, don't do this. And then it's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And I won't do that again. And it's like, it's almost like some of this AI wants to send you on the wrong path. And if you don't know better, then you're going down the wrong path. So that's kind of what's kind of whack. It's like, because people want to believe that AI is going to tell you what the facts are and only the facts, but it's
I'll
not.
give one little tip. You kind of mentioned it, and it brings me to a tip I can give. I think will benefit everybody. When I build these prompts for the voice or the chat bots, I use ChatGPT to help me. And I do see people that build the prompts in, I use ChatGPT to help me do that, but I do see people that build them and then they follow my instructions, but then they tell it more stuff on what not to do than what to do. So my biggest tip for that would be try to tell it what to do correctly more and give it more information around what looks correct versus telling it things not to do. And I found that it's actually more successful to do it that way.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. And that's what I think too. Like a lot of people need to realize that the prompting, it was called the training. The training is like the most important part. The tool is just the tool. You can go to Home Depot and buy every tool in there. Doesn't mean you'll ever be able to build a nice looking house, right? The
Yeah.
tools are there, but you got to have the knowledge and the skill. And so everyone's geeking out about AI, thinking that AI is just going to do everything. It doesn't work like that. It's just still just another tool. And if you don't have an expert running that tool, then who knows what you're going to get. That's why Gabe is here. He's the AI expert coder slash marketer all in one.
Anthony, you got your hand raised?
Okay, good day, everyone.
Hey, how
So,
are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. It's a pleasure to be here with you, and I would like to get something clear. The tool is amazing. I have seen few videos you shared on social media on how we can set them up, but I've really had difficulty to be able to set up the system on my own device perfectly because I'm still new to AIs and giving AI instructions to manage calls and so on and so forth. I'm still new to it, but I know that it's a technology that is here to stay, and there is still going to be more improvement. So, based on the video I watched, the guidance was clear, but when I tried to implement it on my system, the instructions I got on the video was quite different from the current, because I think the system is currently updated, like the interface is currently updated. But on the video I watched, it was an older video, so I got a little bit lost in between to be able to carry out the activation successfully. So I was trying to know if you could produce something way more fresh, and it's in a video that is more that can give us more guidance, and then probably upload it on YouTube or any other social media platform you could, to be able to help those that would sign up in future to integrate the system perfectly. Okay.
You're talking about Synthflow, is that right?
Yes, about Synthflow.
Yeah. Did you sign up underneath me as a sub account or do you have your own account?
Yeah, I signed up under you as a sub account because I got your link from the video I watched.
Okay. I have an updated course. So if you're, did you get my course that I send?
No, 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 I didn't get the
Okay, I
course.
can, yeah, just email me after the meeting. I can send you the course. It's more updated. If you follow my YouTube videos, they're, fantastic, but obviously they make changes to the system every single week. So you're right, I probably do need to put out some more updated videos on YouTube, but I did create a course that's pretty updated, that might help you out here.
Okay, fantastic. I'll need your mail then.
Yep, and I'll post that here so everybody has my email. Let's see here. There you go.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Valentinius. Sorry if I got that wrong.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Sounds good.
How do
Sounds
you say
good.
your name?
It's actually Valentine, so I think people get correct.
All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice to meet you.
But yeah, nice to meet you as well. Yeah, I appreciate you for doing this, and all that good stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to pick your brains on a few things, right? So, with
Yep.
voice agents as well as closebook, right? So I guess I could start with the voice agents. So, like everyone else, we started using Air AI. It's not the technology isn't as great on all that good stuff. And then switched over to Synthflow. Recently we started testing out Vapi. So I just wanted to get your insights around of those two, like which performs better, essentially.
Yeah, no problem. I've tested Vapi. It's been a little while, probably a month ago. So it's hard to, stay up on top of everything and test them regularly since I'm working continuously with Synthflow. And obviously they're coming out with updates. But the biggest issue for me is kind of like what I said before. My centralized platform that I don't veer too far from is Go High Level. And that's just so I can stay focused and be an expert at that. And I found that Synthflow works best and is the most stable so far with Go High Level. So if you're not using Go High Level, then Vapi might be a great option. I know that it works well with Make and Zapier. And you can even do some webhooks to integrate it into Go High Level. It's just a lot more complex and it would be harder to get clients going on that. But I was happy with Vapi when I tested it. I thought it was a good quality. I a lot of my clients get in and use their own accounts. Some people try to white label and don't let them have access. I don't do that. I just am super transparent about everything. And I also found that Vapi was a little confusing for the average person because they almost have too many settings to work with. But for me, Synthflow was a better balance.
Yeah, I get that because I was testing it out recently, right? And we like did some demo calls and stuff like that. What I found is a lot of the time the AI will like ship over itself and it will ask a question or say a phrase, a particular phrase twice, and then it will like acknowledge that, oh, I've actually said it. Let me continue if you get what I mean. And as you mentioned, the integration with like GHL or something like that, because we kind of like build and release stuff for our clients. And GHL is a major part of that. So it's a lot harder to use with GHL versus Synthflow. With Synthflow, it's a lot more centralized. It's easier to get that done versus with Vapi, it's a bunch of webhooks and that. And if someone isn't, I guess, tech savvy, it can come off as super, head scratcher if you will. So
Yeah.
yeah, we've definitely seen better results with Synthflow, much more concurrent and streamlined with Synthflow. So I guess that's that. But the other question that I want to get, actually, I should say, is with Closewell, right? So with what we do for our clients, typically in the past, what we would have done is whenever our clients generate leads and stuff like that, whether that's from ads, whether that's from organic content online, what we usually do is we place sellers within their companies to go in, do triaging and create groups once that lead wants to have a call, right? But what we've started testing out is close one. So I think I watched a video from it was released maybe 5, 6 months ago, and he was talking about how the triggers with close one is typically inbound, right? Versus outbound. So you can't necessarily like when someone opts into an ad, not necessarily like have an outbound message being sent to them. And I think I watched a video from you where you were breaking it down how it can be done, right? So I guess I wanted to ask you in regards to close one, is it something that's viable with someone opting into an ad on a lead form or whether that's on a landing page for the close bot sales agent to take over and do the selling once you prompt it correctly, give it the right knowledge and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to summarize a little bit what you said because it's very hard for me to understand you. There's something about your audio, but I think I got most of it. Basically, you're saying that I had created a video talking about a closed bot being more for when you get a message, it can respond to it versus triggering a message to go out, and you're kind of wanting to know me to elaborate a little bit more on how that works. That's kind of what you were saying, right?
Yeah, and just to see if if it can be done with someone opting to an ad or a
Yeah.
VSL stuff like that.
Yep. So yeah, again, so connected with Go High Level. Go High Level, as you probably already know, has its own internal phone system and text messaging. So we use all the automations that Go High Level has to our disposal to text the leads anytime we need to, right? So lead form is submitted, they're visiting your web page, whatever the trigger might be, boom, they're captured into Go High Level. As soon as they're in Go High Level, we trigger a message to go out. Then when there's a response, since CloseBot is connected, it responds to that. And that's something that a lot of people do get confused about. And that's really how most chatbots work, is they're made to respond to the messages. And you use the Go High Level automations to trigger the initial message whenever you want it to go out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely does. Yeah, makes sense.
Cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Brian?
Howdy, howdy. Good to see you, Gabe.
Hey, Brian. Nice to see
I,
you.
something that was brought up by, I don't know whether it's you or Bianco talking about it, but you mentioned the webhooks and the issues with getting that information back out of Synthflow. So I thought I'd ask you real quick to remind me how I do this. Do I remove the enabled webhook then that's in Synthflow once I've messed around with some new information extractors and then recreate it? And that's how you're saying it pulls in the new information extractors you've created? Or because it's still talking, but I think that it's just not pulling in the new information. Is that the difference you
Yep.
were saying?
Yeah, kind of. So the actual webhook that you connect, it's in the deployment section.
Yeah.
That's the inbound webhook you connect to Go High Level. That you don't need to change.
Okay.
Whenever you do a test call, did you remember seeing the little toggle down below, call me, and it
Yeah.
says send webhook? So make
Yeah.
sure that that's turned on. So it's going to
Yep.
send a new webhook for every call. So if you do
Okay.
change your information extractors, you just want to do a new test call, send over a new webhook response, and then inside of Go High Level, you go up to the top of the inbound webhook and you select the new response that came through, and that's going to push through the new data from those info extractors. And then you go down to the contact fields and just remap them all to that webhook.
Okay. It's to make sure that they're mapped. Gotcha. Because
Yep.
I'm looking at the calls that came in today. I mean, I guess there wouldn't be any information extractors though, because it reached a voicemail. So that's why I wouldn't be seeing it. Or should there be blank spots and where I would see the actual information extractor identified in that mapping
Yeah, the
reference?
information extractors would only happen if they actually had talked to the AI.
That's why you
If it
do the
went to
test
the
so you can actually get it to happen.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it's never going to work correctly if you don't do an initial test either. So you always have to do that to start it and to get everything connected before you want to go live.
Okay. That's what I needed to know. Appreciate it. Yeah, I figured it'd be fun. I gleaned something from showing up for this for sure. I was excited to see you
Good.
having this call. Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah, you're welcome, Brian.
Hey Gabe, have you tried like that other app that's been heavily promoted, Closer X, I think it is, or something like that? Closer X AI?
I haven't had a chance to try it yet. I have heard of it. Have you tried
Okay.
it?
I haven't tried it. I was gonna try it. I tried a company called Call Fluent. So I signed up
Mhm.
with Call Fluent, like for their agency model. And their demos made it look like it's pretty simplistic and it connects to high level real easy and everything. But once I started using it, you realize like, it's just like their promotional content was glossing over like some of the real issues that it has. And now that I'm in there and I can't get any support, I've been on there for probably 10 days and I'm trying to get on an onboarding call and I just keep getting the runaround. And then I did get a call yesterday with someone and then, started asking me questions about how you like it, this and that. And then that was like 15 minutes of time wasted. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I gotta go in 5 minutes. And I'm like, well, I need these issues, I need someone. He's like, oh, this
Yeah.
and that. And he was really argumentative with me when I was saying like, hey, how come this doesn't do that? Or like, this doesn't actually work. And he's like, no, no, this, no, you're wrong. And I'm like, well, look, I watched your video, how to set this up. And your video ends about 60% through you setting it up. Like it just stops. And they're like, no, no,
Yeah.
it doesn't. I'm like, okay, why are you arguing with me? I'm just telling you, like, show me how to do it. He's like, oh, I got to go. I don't have time. Like, so you get, he probably is getting on a bunch of calls with people and nobody's problems getting resolved and then pissing everybody off. But I mean,
Yeah,
it
I
seemed
hate
the
that.
voice was working. And I did a test when you click through their web, when you're on the website building it, it has a call me button to test it out and it works like that. But when you actually call in, it doesn't work like that. It's like all laggy and then it sits there silent and it doesn't hang up at the end of the call automatically. It just a bunch of little things. And I know they're new again, like all these people are new, kind of, they're out of France, I think, or something. So they don't even speak English properly, they're that French English, so it's hard to understand like what are they actually saying. But I've been trying to give them a chance and trying to use it because they have a good interface and a good, it's pretty clean for an agency to like set up accounts and stuff, but it's got a lot of holes in it, and I don't know, I'm probably gonna end up having to cancel that one. And I wanted to use high level like you were saying, but I don't think it's really ready for the market, for the level. Plus, it can't make outbound calls. And to me, if you're running ads and you can have an AI call your ads, your leads, I mean, that's powerful. That's
Yeah.
valuable. Companies will pay for that. Just you having a phone number where people can call in. I don't think, for the people I've talked to, kind of like, oh, that's cool. AI receptionist answer your phone. That's cool. But like, how's it going to make me money? Well, it's going to make you money because that front desk lady can now become a manager and make you money running your
Yeah.
business. But
Yeah, we've had the most success with inbound calls, obviously. The average person, is going to detect just about every outbound call at some point in the call. You can trick them in the beginning, maybe, but at some point, if it's a long enough and valuable enough call, they'll probably figure it out. And whenever you're doing an outbound call, you're interrupting somebody's day. And so we've just found it real challenging. Had a lot of success with some businesses and different lists that they've given us to do outbound calls, but it still is a much lower percentage than if you had real callers. It just depends on, if you value that or if you don't have the time to hire a team. But inbound's been working great. And then what you said with calling and following up with leads, that still does work good. But to be honest, as much as I love AI voice and have been using it, we still get a better response from texting. So usually, setting up CloseBot and texting and doing follow-ups with that is our first line of defense to have success. And then we'll use the voice AI as a backup or in conjunction. And several taps on the shoulder is what really, does the reactivation or is valuable in the follow-ups. And even with ringless voicemails, doing all three of those works really well.
what about like the strategy I've been trying to implement is because of the A2P issue where, you get a new, let's say you go get a company, you go to a client and they want you to like, you're going to do like a flash sale to their list. Let's say they got 5,000 people on their list and they realize, hey, I can do a voice blast, like, an AI voice blast, basically, let's call it. I could call all 5,000 people in a day and see if they're interested in this offer versus if you said, hey, let's do a text blast campaign like that with the same offer. First, you got to go get the A2P set up for them. That could take a couple weeks. And then that's if there's no problem. Sometimes it could be quicker. I've had ones done in like 3 days somehow. And other times I've had like 2 weeks plus back and forth, all confusion, getting charged all these different fees. What's going on? You can't really tell, you just got to wait. But so like right now for holidays coming up, a lot of these companies want to make some money before the end of the year. So, an offer to their database is a great way to go. So how can you do that? Well, you could do direct mail. That's quick, but not that quick. You could do text blasting if you could A2P approved, or if they already have it, which most of them don't, then that might, if you have to A2P right now before Christmas, I don't know if you don't have time. It's going to be real tough, to get a good offer in. And then that's why I thought with voice, you call them with the voice and you just ask if they're interested, and then you start hitting them with the text for everything. So I'll text you the link, because if you call, you don't want to have the AI telling them, go to this website, www, blah, 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 right? You want to just send the link. And then like what you said, go to the text. So call, get permission to send them the offer by text, then start following up with text, maybe a call here and there, but trigger it all with the voice because you could get that going like in a day or two versus the texting. Like what is your time frame when you work with the client, what is your time frame when you say, hey, we could start texting and stuff? How long you tell them? A month? 3 weeks? A month?
No, we can start pretty quick. Actually, the A2P has been going through The last few have gone through in just like 2 or 3 days, which has been absolutely amazing. It's just about setting it up right. In Go High Level, I changed the opt-out language so that we put capital word out. And so if you look in the Go High Level settings, you have to have the word stop. But you can change the message so it says something like, hey, if you want me to stop messaging you, just reply back out and I'll take you off our list. Sorry if I bothered you. So I make it a little bit more personalized. And then we do an automation internally that captures the outs. If a lot of people are saying stop, that hurts your reputation and your account can get suspended because that's pinging the carriers that, a lot of people are saying stop. But out is not a word that triggers the carriers. So we're capturing that internally before it hurts your reputation. So
Good.
that along with, having several messages, you can do that in automations and spin out different messages to filter through. Make sure you're dripping out, I would say no more than one message per minute to be safe when you're doing a blast like that. And if you do that, you can get, messages going pretty quick and have good success with it. But you're right, you can do a lot more volume much quicker, and you could start on it today. You don't have to do A2P with voice. You do still have to be careful. I would say if you're going to do a large campaign, my number one tip is go into the trust center and make sure that your outbound calls have your business name, and that's going to be much better. I have seen Twilio shut some accounts down, questioning that they were doing unauthorized calling. And also, we've seen that T-Mobile carrier is very quick to block calls and text messages. Of all the carriers, they're the number one that we have the hardest time with.
So let's see, I had a question, I just lost it. Um, when you're signing up for the A2P, you're obviously using the client's information, right? So you set up a sub account for the
Yeah.
client at high level, make sure all their information is all good in there, and then you click through to get the A2P through that account with their data.
Yep.
So it's their A2P. So if it gets banned, they get banned, not your agency.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and obviously we let them know. And whenever we're working with a client, we coach them on best practices and just let them know the risks. And we try to help them set them up for best success as well. But yeah, it is what it is. That's the world we live in. So it's hard. And if your account does get shut down, you try it again and figure out what happened. I've gone to high level support and to Twilio directly to resolve issues because problems drive me crazy. I want to know like why something happened. So I will dig and dig and dig until somebody gets me a valid answer. So I have a lot of insight on why these things do get flagged.
And you're always using Twilio, right?
Yeah. Well, Twilio powers LC, and that's Go High Level. I've actually been able to get Twilio support on an LC phone system. Most people don't know how to do that, but there's not really any trick. I just go to Twilio directly and tell them, hey, look, this is my number. I don't have access to the SID. It's with Go High Level, but they're not getting back with me. I want to know exactly why this is getting flagged. And I've actually had success going directly to Twilio with LC problems to get information on what's happening. So, and then obviously with Synthflow voice or any of the voice, it's going through Twilio as well.
But you're
What's
not
up,
buying
Brian?
your numbers. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I can come back to you, Bianca.
Oh,
No
no
problem.
worries, man. Yeah, the questions just keep coming as he's talking. I'm like, oh yeah, that's something I want to mention. So no, it's
Sure.
good. So first of all, I'll say A2P. I hate that. I mean, that's just one of those things where it's not going to stop the people causing the problems. I mean, I'm getting texts all the time from other countries. You can't put a stop to that. They're just fucking with us who are trying to do things the right way. It's such a pain in the ass. Excuse my French.
Yeah.
I just really hate it. But so first question I was going to ask, caller ID on these outbound calls. Do you have a way that you figured out so someone can return that call and actually call back to like an inbound AI agent or even a human, so they're not just calling a number that says nothing here? Because I just immediately block those return calls if I get a call that I miss. Have you figured that part out?
Yeah. You
Are
just
you
have
doing
to
that
set up
through? Is
an
it Go High
inbound
Level
agent.
something in there or?
If you make an outbound agent, you just
Mhm.
have to make an inbound agent to go along with it, and it
And you can
will
assign
answer
the
those
same phone
calls.
number to it, is what you do?
Yes,
That easy.
exactly.
Shit.
So
Okay.
In Synthflow, whenever you create an outbound agent and you sign a number, you can essentially have the same number for multiple outbound agents. But when you create an inbound agent, they know in the back end that you can only have one phone number assigned to an inbound agent. You can't have multiple phone numbers to multiple agents because that would, it has to be 1-to-1 ratio when it's inbound. So
Yeah.
when you do assign a number to an inbound agent, it'll gray it out and it'll take it out of use so you can't use it anymore. But you can have it assigned to one outbound and one inbound, and then if you marry them together, then it can answer all your calls
So
for
would you
the
say
outbound.
are you saying you have to assign it to the outbound first, or it'll get grayed out if you
It doesn't
assign it to the
matter.
inbound? Oh, it doesn't matter. It'll always be
Yeah.
available for the. Well, that's way easier than whatever was going on with air, right? I feel like air was a freaking nightmare trying
Mhm.
to. I don't even know if there was ever a way
It
to solve
was.
that. So okay, cool.
No,
That's easy.
it was a nightmare. It's easier to do it with Synthflow, and the nice thing is it grays it out, so you know for sure you can't use it once you've assigned it. And another thing you couldn't do with Error is you couldn't really control what numbers it's calling from or anything like that. And with Synthflow, you have control over selecting a number. So I have
Yeah.
clients that are calling from multiple locations, and they can just have different area codes in their Twilio account, and then once it's connected to Synthflow, it shows up in their account like you see when you do the integration, and then they can assign those numbers to their agents. And so then if they want to set up an inbound agent for that, then they just assign the same number. The good thing is you really should set up a separate inbound agent. Maybe someday they'll make it so outbound can do both, but you want the intro to be a little bit different because it
Mhm.
obviously is. You're not going to have the same intro to the call when you're calling out than if somebody's calling in. So it kind of helps, that sound
Yeah.
better and more natural as well.
That's cool. So it will have to be an AI agent, though. You wouldn't be able to have that return call come to a live person, I guess, though, is the one rub using Synthflow is the way that would be.
Yeah, you actually could, I think. I actually had never nobody asked that question before, but you would just do that inside of Twilio. If you go into your Twilio account, you would
Okay.
set up a call forwarding so that if anybody calls back the outbound number that you're using, you would set up a call forwarding that went directly to a team member instead, and that would capture that.
Awesome. Okay. Because I'm
You wouldn't
thinking if
do it
someone
in
gets an
Synthflow.
AI call, you might want to, if they're just calling back that unknown number, maybe you want to take that personally and make sure that they don't just get irritated and think, oh, I'm
Yeah.
going to get spammed to death by whatever this thing is, right? Okay, that's
Yep. You
cool.
could
Yeah,
always
I'll
set it
consider
up to
that.
answer too. You could also set it up to answer too, because it is pretty easy to trick people in the first 30 seconds or maybe 15 seconds of a call.
Yeah.
And you could just let them know, hey, I'm the AI assistant. I can answer your questions or I can transfer you to a human immediately.
Oh, yeah.
And then, just do the transfer after they call in. You could try it that way too.
Yeah, the less I have to mess around with Twilio, the better. I'm not a big fan. I mean, I'm not in the pay cycle where I can even talk to someone. So it's opening a ticket and it's back and forth for days to get anything done
Yeah.
there. Let
Yeah.
me see what this is called with the voice. Identify the interest. Oh yeah, I just made that note. Um, so if you were going to use the AI, then again, like Bianco was talking about, to say, hey, let me text you that information. The actual text, is that going to be through the workflow inside of Go High Level? Then you're going to have some type of an extractor that's going to trigger an event in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, exactly. So you would set up an info extractor to say, like for me, sometimes I trigger it off outcomes. So I set up info extractors that tell me what the call outcome is. If they're interested or if they are interested in an appointment, depending on what level they get in the conversation, I could set up an info extractor. And if it pings that info extractor, then it can trigger the text message. There is a more advanced way to do it where you can set up a custom action. I don't know if you played around with custom actions. Custom action is different than
No, I have
regular
not.
actions.
Hmm.
It's different than info extractors. That's really one of the most powerful features with Synthflow is their custom actions. And you really have to know what you're doing. I actually have another developer that's much more advanced at webhooks than I am. I can do a lot of basic stuff, but when I want to get into advanced stuff, she helps me. But one of the things you can do with the custom actions is you can connect it uh, to any platform really through that. But the other thing is you can actually connect it to Go High Level before or during the call, tell it to get the contact. You can see the contact information live. So where this is most useful is for inbound calls. A lot of people don't know, or they ask me, how can I look up the contact so it knows who it's talking to when I get an inbound call? With outbound
Yeah.
calls, it's easy. You have the contact information right there at your disposal. With inbound calls, you have to use a custom action to do a quick lookup. As soon as the call happens, it takes the phone number, it searches go high level, it looks up the contact, and then it knows who it's talking to. And then you could reference, custom fields directly from that contact if you wanted to. I even set up one where I keep ongoing notes of the calls, and it's like, yeah, I can see here we last talked about da 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 da, and it can reference those notes and summarize what it last talked about, and that's really really powerful as well. But in your case, even for an outbound call, you could trigger a custom action to be pinged during the call, to where if they said yes, send me the booking link, or send me the text message, or send me that offer to your discounted ticket, whatever you're doing, it could actually send the text message live on the call. They could say, hey, did you get that? Yep, I got it. Okay, just click approve. And they could, walk you through it. For example, I have a dentist with 3 locations. They didn't want to use the booking calendar because they have a proprietary dental system that they use. So instead, they're using it all for inbound. Instead, we set it up so that when people call in, it asks them what they're interested in, if they want to set an appointment. If they do want to set an appointment, we ask them what location. And then after it knows the location, it says, great, can I send you a text message with our booking link? They say yes, boom, that triggers the custom action. It instantly sends a text message. They say, okay, I got it. Great, just click on the link, do this, this, and this. Let me know if you have any questions. It stays with them on the phone until the booking's actually completed. These were very particular clients, and they're doing high volume. They got 3 dental locations, and this is working pretty consistently good for them. So
Wow.
it's
Yeah, that's
that, that's
impressive.
a really powerful feature to be able to use. And so definitely something you can't do with Go High Level yet on that.
Yeah, there's another way to reference that information, just using the little curly bracket stuff, right? To go ahead and reference things that are inside the contact record. If you just wanted to mention something that's part of a property, I guess that'd be different than that extractor.
Yep. So if you're trying to reference inside the contact with the curly brackets, whenever you set up the make call action inside, do you know
Yeah.
how to set up those keys?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
those
as long
those
as
keys. So that's an easier way without getting into that custom area, but that's not going to allow like a live action type discussion you were just having where they're going to send a text. But
right.
you could say, oh, I heard you mentioned that you had a couple cars you're trying to insure, or some other information that you're able to gather from the
Yeah.
application, if in an insurance
Yeah.
example.
What you're
Okay,
referencing is for outbound, and that's the curly brackets for inbound. It actually works
gotcha.
different. It's like it's not even the curly brackets for inbound calls. You have to use like the greater or less than sign, or the alligator symbol,
The
whatever you
FL
call
stuff?
that.
No, not the FL. Whole different thing.
Um, it's
No.
I don't know how to explain it. I'll put it in the chat right here. It's that symbol,
Okay.
and then you put the stuff inside, and then that will reference the custom action after you have it set up.
Oh, gotcha. That's how you call to the custom action, but
It's
that's how you
different.
handle it on an inbound call.
It's different variables. Yeah.
Wild.
I
Okay.
probably should make a video on that.
That'd be cool. Inbound.
What's up,
Call.
Eric?
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you're welcome, Brian.
Hey, Gabe, great to see you. I was commenting when you gave the shout out about this. It's almost exactly a year since I spoke with you last. I just remember what I was doing in this fall season. That's why it kind of comes up in my memory. But great to hear from you. Great to see you. And you started kind of answering what I wanted to talk about with your dentist example. So can you give me some use cases for businesses that are not agencies, not selling to the sellers, right? But rather the dentist office, the HVAC company, the lawn mow company, whatever, and how you're helping these folks, and like maybe even going back to your 3 dentist office. What was the what was their uptick in volume? What was their result? What was the value add to this? Did they get more clients? Did they stay with the same amount of clients, but it was more efficient? Help me understand it from a business owner perspective. What's in it for them?
Yeah, so I believe the dental client was getting about 100 calls a day between all their offices, and they were spending a lot of money on an outsourced call center with real humans. So it started off as a test with them to see if we could eliminate it. it took several months of working with them just because, like I said, they're very, very particular, and I really had to get this dialed in to working, at least 90 to 95% accurate all the time. You're always going to have some weird glitches that happen, but we finally got it where, they were satisfied that majority of the calls that the AI was able to answer the phone, ask them why they were calling, actually answer questions intelligently that they had. People say, can you do this treatment? Can you do that treatment? How long does it take? What doctor will I be meeting with? So we can load in all that knowledge so that it's like the world's best customer service. And what they found which is different than outbound calling, but when people call inbound to your business, they want to talk to you. And initially, because AI is new, initially the human brain thinks, I really want to talk to a human. But when you talk to a really well set up AI and it can answer all your questions accurately, it's amazing that people start, even after they determine it's AI, they start to relax a little bit and they're like, I've had so many
Totally agree.
people I've had so many people give me feedback after from my clients that I have this set up for. They would give them feedback and they're like, you know what? I didn't think I was going to like that at first, but it answered all my questions. It was efficient, and I have no complaints. It went really, really well. And so that was kind of their experience.
So that was actually really helpful. And so you're trying to help a high volume dental practice, 3 different practices with their inbound. How about any use cases for outbound, for business growth? Have you seen anybody that's, 2x, 3x, 10x their, plumbing business because of that? And just to go back a year, I own 2 businesses. So, one of the reasons I kind of extracted out of things from last year was because I didn't feel it was ready for what I needed to achieve. And, I'm very involved with the AI, but I'm not involved with it from a standpoint of, doing the marketing, the outbound, handling inbound. I mean, do you have anybody that's running a Facebook ad campaign? The lead count is getting to a point where they're happy with the results, and then they use your systems to delegate and grow that. Help me understand it from a business owner standpoint, what the value add is, or anybody that. And maybe, in this group here, I don't know if everybody in here is an agency, or if there's any plumbers in here, or electricians, or doctors in here. But yeah, let's just chat from that perspective if we could.
Yeah, I can't say that I've give you statistics that anybody has 3x or 10x their business because of the AI calling. And it's really that it's, for most of the people I've worked with, it's freed up more of their time than anything. Or it's added another layer of a white glove concierge type service, depending on how you're using it. So your first question was, how could you use it for outbound? For B2B, it's fairly simple. There's less rules than B2C. You don't have to have approval. Although there's a gray area where if you're calling their cell phones, that could still be considered B2C, but some people are opting to ignore that. And, I don't know which way that ruling would go. But outbound's hard. Like I said before, you're interrupting somebody's day. Even if they're actual clients and you're following up with them, we have a lot of people say, oh, can you call me back? That's just causing more problems and more headache if you have a lot of callbacks, or you have to, create up more follow-up. So yes, it works. You have to manage it still. Can definitely help free up time if you're getting busy. But with the cold calling for B2B, I have a guy doing it for small refrigerated trailers. He's probably my biggest client that's using it for outbound for that. And we just load up the beginning of the message very much so that it's value. And we just say, hey, are you interested or are you not? And you get straight to the point. What doesn't work is thinking you're going to have this fantastic sales pitch on an outbound and that people are going to sit there and listen to you. They're not. And if it's too long, they're just going to have hangups. And the worst thing to me is just a hangup and you don't even know, should you recall them? What was it, an accidental hangup? I want to have a short intro, especially on a cold outbound, short enough where I can say, hey, look, hey, sorry I interrupted you. I'm calling because of this, and this. Are you interested? Can I give you some more information on that? Do you have 30 seconds? Some sort of variation of that. Because I at least want to hear a no. I don't want to get a hang up. But again, inbound's still the best use case. And even, yes, you said high volume, the example I gave for the dental. Um, I do have some very low volume inbound clients, and it's still beneficial to them because the AI has all the information about their business and it can answer everything. And it's always going to be patient. Some of these people are out in the workforce working and they come across as jerks sometimes and they don't mean to. I've had clients actually say, Gabe, man, that call went terrible. They listen back to themselves and then they hear the AI handle the call and it's just a much better white glove concierge type service that they can, answer these calls professionally for them while they're, staying hard at work. So for inbound, it works, just as beneficial for high volume or low volume, and it may not 10x your business, but long term, it's definitely going to make you look a lot more professional, and it's always going to have your business information and be able to answer questions perfectly. So that's been our best use case.
Okay. Okay. That's helpful. And I'll just give one kind of case study. This goes back actually about a year, well, shortly after you and I talked last. So one of my businesses is Metal Roofs of Michigan, metal roofing business, if you recall. And
Yep.
one of the use cases that I did with AI, but was my assistant Beth we get inbound leads. We got inbound leads today, right? This week we're getting inbound leads, people that want to schedule a Zoom appointment for an estimate. Sometimes, not a lot of them, but probably about maybe 15, 20, maybe a couple dozen in a year that if we go back, we see where they seem to have genuine interest, but it was just couldn't catch them. And what I would ask Beth to do every year, and I've been operating this company for years and years, and she was, hey, go through and call these people, just find out, did they do an asphalt roof? Are they still in the market? But understandably, she hated it. And as a result, it didn't get good, results. She did her job, but yada, yada. I had Air AI go through and just call these, just load up those 24 numbers, call with a basic, like you're saying, kind of just come in very, hey, this is, Julie from Metal Roofs in Michigan. You reached out to us regarding wanting to get an estimate. We missed each other. Are you still interested? Kind of a yes or no. And then if they said yes, then we would do a human follow-up. And at, $30,000, $40,000 average orders, you get 2 of those, and it's very worthwhile. So those
Sure.
are the types of use cases. And then my other business, which is in helping people from a coaching standpoint with diabetes and weight loss and now cancer, and here's a strategy I wanted to ask you about as I was kind of thinking through this call. You mentioned about how outbound calls are irritating, right, to people because you're interrupting them. Do you ever do something? I'm trying to think what would work for me. If you said, Eric, I'm going to call you at some point, meaning Gabe, okay? Or somebody from Gabe's company is going to call me. Like right now, I'm in a Zoom. I don't want to take a call. I'm busy all day. But if you said via text, I can call you, or I can have my AI agent call you on the hour. So I know and you give me a choice. Does 2 o'clock on the hour, 3 o'clock, or 4 o'clock, or something like that. So I know if, like right now, it's spot on 3 o'clock. If that phone rings, even if I don't know that number, I think that's Gabe or Gabe's agent calling me, and I want to take that call. So you trigger the consumer to be mindful that this isn't some spammy call, but that you agreed to a 3 p.m. inbound call. Do you ever do something like that in your workflow?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the powers of being able to combine it with a high level to be able to use the texting with the calling together. And, it makes it a really powerful communication system.
And then you'll just tell them specifically, and then, using Go High Level, it knows, hey, this prospect answered back 4 p.m. And then starting, boom, right at 4 p.m., it initiates that call, goes through the script, gathers the conversational information, maybe bumps it to you as a live call if that's what your flow is, working towards. That's kind of how it works.
Yeah, you could. I actually don't set up a lot of calls where it does set it up for a specific time like that. but thinking through that, it could absolutely be done.
Yeah, because my
Because
big
so
thing is,
Closebot would be able to conversationally determine that. You would capture the response in a custom field. You could, depending on how they say that, you could use the ChatGPT action that Go High Level has to turn their response into a date, and then you would turn that date into an action, which is called an event inside of Go High Level, which then would trigger then you would have a wait time to wait for the exact time of that event, and then you would trigger the AI call to happen at that time. So if all that's past your head and you're not familiar enough with Go High Level, sorry, but that is how
yeah,
you would do it. I know for sure, and it would work.
yeah, conceptually, it totally makes sense to me. And then just, being able to empathize as a consumer. I'll tell you, even for today's call, after I submitted the form today, your Zoom, I thought, hey, maybe I'll get an AI call from Gabe, right? And but I knew that I would miss it because I ignore all inbound calls unless it's coming
Yeah.
from a number that I know it's coming from. But in the case of you, I wouldn't know the number. But if I knew that it was coming in at 2 p.m. that day or 2 p.m. the following day, if a call came in and I saw it was right at 2 p.m., I would pick it up even if I didn't recognize the number because I would assume it was Gabe.
Yeah. And
Okay.
that's the benefit of registering the number also in the Trust Hub, which you can actually put your business name in there. If I actually called you from one of my bots right now, it would show up on your phone as Nerd Tech AI, which is much better than just a phone number.
Okay. Good to know. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks. Appreciate it. And good
Yeah.
to see you again.
I know we're just over the hour. I have, a couple more minutes if somebody has a burning question or just needs to ask something, and be happy.
So Gabe, are you
I know Bianca.
using Closebot and not the high level texting system?
Yes, I am. Closebot does much better at gathering objectives, specific objectives, and I can run multiple bots depending on what objectives have been completed. So you can get very advanced with it, such as you could have one bot just for new leads, and it has objectives that are set up just for new leads. Once the new lead's qualified, it could pass it off to a follow-up bot, depending on what happens. You could have a whole nother bot set up just for general questions so that if somebody chimes in, it can answer questions about your business. That's just like customer service. You can't do that level of stuff yet with Go High Levels bot.
And then Closebot, it lets you integrate right into the high level dashboard on the menu. Is that true?
Oh, what do you mean by that?
Like you can add it
Integrate?
to a menu item on the in the high level, so as a
Oh, actually, you cannot. You're talking
okay,
about a custom button to
menu.
set up. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be like people have asked about that, and Bryce, the owner of Closebot, has said that because of the iframe, it has something to do with the security of the system, and they haven't, he said he'd like to work towards that, but I don't know, there's something more complicated, but it doesn't integrate directly that way. You actually don't really need to anyways. I guess it
Okay.
could be convenient. It could be convenient, but he's made it so easily integratable. When you build it in Closebot, you can use the actual custom fields with the curly brackets and that custom value to reference custom fields. For example, if you wanted to set a bot up for multiple industries, but you didn't want to have to change it with everyone's business name, you could use the custom fields and Go High Level, store that information, and you don't have to do anything special. You don't have to do a webhook integration, nothing. And Closebot, once it's connected to Go High Level, it'll see real time those fields and be able to read them. It's pretty amazing. And they just came out with a new feature that is absolutely amazing that I've never seen anything be able to do. And it's a smart follow-up. So if somebody texts you back and says, yeah, I'm busy, contact me tomorrow, it actually internalizes tomorrow as a date all by itself without having to do those fancy automations I talked about for the voice bot. It does it all by itself in the back end, and will literally follow up with them tomorrow at whatever time they say.
So that's why it's called Closebot.
Bryce has done a good job. It's pretty amazing.
Now, have you seen that new thing that High Level talked about where now you can create your own apps that like somehow connect into High Level like natively or something like that? Like I just got an email yesterday that said someone was like, hey, if you have a sales team that drives around and makes sales calls, then you can integrate this High Level app in, and you just tell it, what clients you got to visit, and it'll use Google Maps to map out the route you should drive to like be efficient or something like that. And he's selling it as it's a high level plugin app or something like that. I don't know what those are. Have you heard about those?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You can do some custom things like that. I personally would have to hire a developer. I don't do that type of stuff, but just the fact that it has the ability, if you have an idea and you know what it want it to do and you have the right person that can do it, it's pretty cool that it does have those capabilities.
That seems like that's another way to sell all the agencies more stuff. But
You
I mean,
know,
some of them are useful, obviously, you know.
when you look at it, you can't go anywhere else, even with all their add-ons and all their upsells, you can't go anywhere else and save money. It's still cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, High Level definitely has like hundreds of features now that I don't even deal with. Like it's just too many. And then you were on the live with I guess Sean announcing the 300 plus new changes, right?
Yeah,
And then he
crazy.
said at the end, mostly people said, stop making more, add on new things and fix the features you have. And he said, no, we're never going to do that.
Yeah,
That was pretty funny.
that was funny.
But yeah, like, yeah, their AI tool, I don't think, yeah, I'm not gonna use that. I'm gonna probably go with what you're doing. It's like similar stuff. I saw Closebot a while when it first came out, and I thought it was interesting, but I thought that once voice AI came out and the other stuff and interactive chat, I thought, that's gonna die because people were buzzing about chatbots for a while, but then it seemed like, in the business world, it died, and they're like, what about this AI voice? But again, like you said, there's issues. And I haven't come across very many people in the business owners I talk to that said like, oh, I don't want AI voice. That's cheesy. That's ridiculous. No one wants to talk to AI. I mean, you hear the average layperson on the street when you're telling them what you do say stuff like, oh, I don't want to talk to AI. That's stupid. Well, if you call a number that has an AI voice, you got no choice. And like you
And
said, most of the
that's kind of what I was getting at earlier. I think in the next couple of years, when you answer a call and you detect it is AI, you might become excited because you'll know it's actually going to work. And I'm hopeful that it's going to get good enough where we'll be able to get rid of these stupid IVR machines and having to navigate through a million press one, press two. I think the future is going to actually make people a lot happier once they get used to it and realize that it's really powerful and it is actually going to get their answers or their questions answered more efficiently.
yeah, I think what I see coming is the phones are going to have the AI in it, like the Google phone already does. You can kind of have a conversation. Then you'll be able to tell that AI in your phone, call this business and do that. And then your phone AI will call their business AI and have the conversation without you even having to be involved. And then it'll just put it
Yep.
on your calendar. It'll reschedule and do all this stuff. And I think that's right around the corner. As soon as Apple comes out with that being able to talk to your phone like that and get things done, then I think that's going to be here like quick. And we'll
For
all be
sure.
positioned to like capitalize on it because if
Yep.
you don't have an AI on the other side, then how you gonna, you might not even have to make a call. Might be able to do the internet directly somehow without using the phone system because the phone companies are the bottleneck. They're the ones that are like, I think they're making all this A2P stuff because they're like, how can we make money on this? We're not making any money on all this. And they're trying to
Yeah.
get in the middle of everything and try to make sure they get paid. That's the question I was going to ask earlier is I don't like using Twilio either because they add all these weird fees in for this, that, and another thing. And then when you try to figure out why is my bill this, they basically do with what uh Gabe, I think or not, who left, or Brian was saying how trying to get answers from those guys is like days of emailing back and forth. Like, no, that's completely worthless. You need to get answers quick.
Yeah.
And if I could cut Twilio out of my life, I would cut him out like instantly, like get good riddance. Like, you know what I mean? And if I could stop the phone
100%.
companies from interfering with me doing business with other businesses, then I would get rid of them too. So I think that could be the next breakthrough. Get rid of them. Get rid of both of those guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because Twilio, I don't like, they just, like just the other day, they just drained a bunch out of my account, and I'm like, and then just give these random reasons why, like on the invoice. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I have to go back and forth. It took me 2 days to figure out that they, were billing me for these other numbers that I didn't cancel properly and blah, blah, like what? And all this other nonsense. So yeah,
Frustrating for sure.
yeah, frustrating for sure. But when you're using Synthflow, are you getting your own Twilio numbers from Twilio directly, or are you getting them through Synthflow?
Twilio directly.
Okay, yeah, because that's what I figured out is get them directly from Twilio if you're going to be using that system, so that even if you switch AI platforms, you take your number that's A2P with you instead of having to
Right.
get a new one every over. Oh, get this, get that. Yeah,
Yep. Yeah,
perfect.
that's a big benefit.
So
Well, I
you're
am out of
using.
time.
Okay,
Great
cool, man. I
talking to
appreciate it.
you. Great talking to
A lot of good
everybody
answers.
here. And, I appreciate the turnout. We might do this next week. I think it was valuable for a lot of people, and I enjoyed it. And I get a lot of knowledge and feedback just hearing from you guys on how I can help out. So it's just as important for me. So thanks, guys.
Let me ask you one
Hey,
last
Gabe.
question before you go, Gabe. Which niche, before when I spoke to you, you were like doing a lot of real estate agent niche, like that was like a big focus. Are you switched up now or still doing that?
I help a lot of people in real estate. Actually, I don't help a lot of people in real estate. That's not really my niche. My niche
Okay.
is really helping people problem solve and get their prompts correct. I have to say that it's pretty split. I don't work with really one industry in particular.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Appreciate that, man.
The reason why I don't work with a lot of people in real estate is because they're mostly wanting to do outbound to consumers, and then once they figure out that that's been outruled, it's hard to help them. Most of them don't really care about the inbound portion. So.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good niche for most anyway, because they're sporadically making money, so they can't afford to pay you consistently monthly because they're not making consistently monthly recurring revenue. They're sporadic, so their
Right.
mindset is like, "Can you work for me the same way?" And it's like, no.
Yeah.
Stuff costs money. I need to pay bills. I got people working for me. I need to pay money out. I need money coming in. Yeah.
Percent.
All right, man. Appreciate
Thank you,
it. Have a good day,
Bianco.
man.
Yep, you too.